Hi, America. So, I wanted to come talk to you again about why I believe black Americans should not marry or procreate with white people. And I just want to kind of give you some of my opinions and point out some uh, kind of flaws in the thinking when it comes to interracial relationships. I hear some people saying, all white people aren't bad and all white people aren't racist and I don't see color. And I think for me, some of those things are red flags. One, when someone says they don't see color, that's a huge red flag that they're a white supremacist. Um, there's a lot of stereotypes that says that that black men don't take care of their children and that black women have attitude problems and they're difficult, and these are some excuses as to why a black woman or a black man may marry a white person. um, some people don't need an excuse, but some will feel like they have to have an excuse why they're not marrying in their race. One of the things is, and what I would suggest that people, the black Americans do when they're deciding whether to date a white person, there's there's ways to find out if they're racist or not. A lot of people don't want to bring up race and they don't want to talk about white supremacy, especially when they're dating a white person. And I would urge you to actually bring up those topics. Talk about white supremacy. Ask them what their views on current events like Black Lives Matter and um, cop brutality and just the system of white supremacy, the terrorism of white supremacy. Bring those topics up and really kind of talk about those. And I suggest that those are some things that are talked about within the first week. I would say on the first date, but if you don't really feel comfortable doing it, honestly, if you're talking to someone online, I would even bring it up maybe second sentence. I would just ask them straight out, because if they're not racist and they're not a white supremacist, then that question isn't going to offend them, because they will be in the reality that white supremacy does exist and that white supremacy is terrorism and that white supremacy is global terrorism and that is it's destructive to everyone in existence. And I think that if that person is truly not racist, then they're going to be able to understand some of that. Um, some of the questions you want to ask is definitely, what is your opinion on white supremacy? Because I think a lot of us get mixed up on the fact that we think that if they're dating a black person, then they can't possibly be a white supremacist. And that is so far from the truth. That is so far from the truth. Because I've had conversations with white men about white supremacy, and even though they want to date me, they don't get white supremacy. They don't think it exists. They think that slavery ended, so with it, white supremacy ended, and I'm I think there's like a blanketed ignorance when it comes to white people in general, um, in regards to white supremacy, regards to um, our struggle as black Americans. They don't get it. So even if you think that they're not racist, you can have white men, especially, I'll see white men with their Jordans on and they're, trying to have swag and thinking that they're just, really down for the cause. And then when you start asking them about white supremacy, you'll see that swag and all that, Jordans and whatever, it does not matter. It doesn't matter. They're not going to be able to have a conversation about white supremacy without getting offensive. In all their views, just ask them about some views. Like, I was watching just regular TV on a Hulu, but before that, I was talking to this white dude about racism and how the fact that white people are always telling black people to, slavery ended, why don't you guys just get over it and get past it? And I'm explaining to him that how can black Americans get past slavery when you're constantly reminded of it? You're reminded of it in elementary school, middle school, high school, college, TV, commercials. You're constantly bombarded with images of slavery. So it's like, how are you supposed to get past it? And so while I'm talking, the commercial for Roots comes on. And so it's showing a black man being branded by an iron, and then they're showing a black man get hung and all that stuff. And I'm just like, this is why we can't get past slavery, is because it's constantly thrown in our face. It's because Hollywood produces at least 2 slavery movies a year. And I'm asking him, I'm like, who do you think wants to watch these videos? These are to entertain white people. White people want to watch black people be hung by trees. They want to be reminded of slavery. But while they're being reminded of slavery and having fun with it, we're still seeing it. It's being thrown in our faces. So it's like impossible. It is impossible to get over something that's constantly thrown in your face. And then I thought for a minute, and I asked him, I was like, why do you think they're constantly showing slavery movies? And he's like, well, because people want to watch it. No, white people want to watch it. Let's get that straight. Why do you think that they don't constantly show Holocaust movies? And it's not because the Holocaust was in Germany, because we sure paid the Holocaust victims reparations. So it certainly can't be because it's not something that happened in America. We don't constantly show Pearl Harbor videos, but we constantly show black people being savagely treated, being brutally beaten, being hung by trees, been like, that's what we're constantly showing black people. We're constantly getting that. And so you really have to think about it and ask these white people some questions. And then you will see, you will narrow it down to like either a white person that just like, well, they think you're just so cute that they can just, they're not, even if they think you're cute, they're never going to get to a point where they can have an educational, an educated conversation with you about it without getting offended. I've heard that that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. When you have white people walking around saying Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group, I have never heard a white person say KKK is a terrorist group. Not one time, not one person. I don't care how many black people that person's dated, but they can open their mouths and say Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group simply because you were saying that your life matters. So these white people, they want to date you, they want to have sex with you, they want to marry you, they will have kids with you, but don't say that your life matters, because then there's a problem. There's a problem if you say your life matters. So we really need to look at what we're doing when we decide to procreate with white people, because then now our kids divided, A, and B, they have white supremacist relatives now. So it's really important. I say it's very important to not have kids with white people in general. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, it's only going to cause problems and chaos. They're not worth it. They're not worth marrying. Like, honestly, they're not. And it's not to say that, white people are less, or less than black people, or that they all fit in a certain category, because that's not what I'm saying. I'm positive that there's nice, decent, loving white people in America. I can say that, but find one that's not a white supremacist, I've yet to find. That's what I've yet to find. And I've been around so many white people, I can't even imagine, like, trying to count. But they're all white supremacists. I haven't found any. I found nice white supremacists. I found kind white supremacists. I find some that are sympathetic, but they're still white supremacists. Because as soon as you start breaking down the structure of America and the system of America, you will see their white supremacy kind of start just waving out. It just starts coming out, and they can't even help it. It comes out in a big way whenever the American flag is brought up. You'll really see your white supremacist friends or relatives or co-workers. Really, you'll see that their white supremacy showing when the American flag, anytime that's talked about. And for me, when a white person talks about their love and dedication to the American flag, I take that as they're against me. Because if you're for the American flag, and the American flag is not for black people. When the American flag and all that stuff came out, black people were being brutalized, we were being raped, we were being murdered, drugged behind cars. I mean, anything that your mind could imagine to be terrorized by white supremacy. We were dealing with terrorism. We still are. It is a consistent just consistent terrorism. And when someone's like, oh, I'm just, for the flag, it's like, well, if you're for what the flag represents, then you're not for me, you're against me. And then that causes, this giant conversation about slavery, and they never want to hear it. They never get it. They don't want to hear it, but they want us to watch it over and over and over and over. They want us to watch it. They want us to read it. They want us to constantly think about slavery. They want us to do that for a reason, because subliminally they're showing us that they want us to make sure that we continue to think that we are below them. That's what they want to constantly think. And it doesn't matter if they have a mixed child. They don't even think about the fact that they have a mixed child. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even cross their mind how white supremacy is going to affect that child. And so it's really damaging to have a kid with them, because how are you going to have one parent that doesn't get what you're going through, that doesn't understand what you're going to face, that will dismiss what you're feeling? If someone has a problem with Black Lives Matter, then they're telling that child that their life does not matter. Because that is the bare minimum of anything, is like the lowest low. You just matter. You're not awesome or supreme or superior. You simply matter. And they can't deal with it, because they want you to believe that you are a slave. That's who you are. That's where you came from, and this is where you're going to be. You're always going to be below us. Your life does not matter. And when you have that's your parent, to have that be your parent, that is psychologically damaging. And that's why, and we don't want to continuously recycle the negative mindset that we've been taught. We don't want to keep doing that. So that's all I have to say about that right now. And just like, subscribe, share. Thank you.